Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to New Vegas, where today we're going to be taking a look at an iconic weapon in Fallout. This is going to be the plasma rifle and the plasma rifle family, of which we actually have 5 of these to talk about, so there's quite a few of them. The plasma rifle can be earned fairly early on into New Vegas. You can actually get the unique one right away if you know where to go. It's really easy to get it, so that's really cool. Aside from that, you could also pick these up in a couple of places. You could rush to the Silver Rush and buy these. Certain other merchants can sell them. The Brotherhood can sell them. The Brotherhood can also carry these. Fiends can carry these, so you can potentially kill fiends and take them off of them. So there is quite a few different ways of getting plasma rifles fairly early on into the game. As for the stats of the plasma rifle, this one requires 25 energy weapons and 3 strength in order to wield. Pretty low requirements overall, which is awesome for an energy weapon build. This one does 47 damage per shot, which is fairly high, 66 damage per second. The plasma rifle doesn't shoot incredibly fast, as well as you do have to wait for the projectile to hit. That's kind of just a drawback with plasma in general. This one does 47 crit damage, so it has good crit damage. This one has a 2 times crit modifier, so it's more likely to hit crits, which is awesome. This one actually has very little spread at 0.2. The plasma rifle is surprisingly accurate at times, as well as the plasma shot is a little bit wider than other regular bullets, so it's a little bit easier to hit targets with this. This one has a magazine of 24, however, since it is a plasma weapon, this takes 2 ammo every time that you shoot it, so it actually only has 12 shots in total before you have to reload, which does mean you're going to go through microfusion cells a little bit quicker than you otherwise would. This one costs 30 action points, so it's okay in VATS, not as good as something like the laser rifle, which we've talked about before. That one's much better for a VATS build than the plasma rifle is, but this one's still okay. This one weighs 8, so it is okay on the weight. It's not super heavy, but it's not super light either. And the plasma rifle has 75 health. Unfortunately, like most energy weapons, this one does not have a whole lot of health, so it can break pretty quick. For the general pros of the plasma rifle, this one does do pretty high damage, which is nice, and its damage per second is decent. This one has a great ammo. Microfusion cells are fantastic. They're one of the best energy cells in the entire game, probably one of the most flexible ones, and they go to so many different weapons. And this weapon does have good crits. With the extra crit chance and doing decent crit damage, you can at least rack up a decent amount of damage thanks to the plasma rifle. For the cons of this weapon, it kind of has 2 cons that are just inherent to plasma weapons. One is that it has low item HP. This breaks fairly fast. That's kind of a problem with most energy weapons though, so weapon repair kits can be really useful, jury rigging can be super useful. Just anything like that, getting this fixed up from vendors can be useful. And this has a slow moving projectile. If the enemy is at really long range, sometimes it's pretty difficult to hit them with the plasma rifle just because you have to wait for the projectile to actually get there. And sometimes enemies move a little bit erratically in New Vegas, so it's sometimes difficult just to hit them. There are a couple of perks that can help out with the plasma rifle too. 2 in particular with plasma spaz, cutting down on the action point cost, which can be pretty nice. It can be more useful for like the unique version of this, but even the regular version can make some use of this, as well as regular VATS perks can kind of help here. Meltdown is also fantastic for this weapon and most energy weapons, where if you kill something, it explodes and deals damage to everything around it. More AoE and more value per bullet, so that's also really good. There are also quite a few ammo options that you get with the plasma rifle. Since this one uses microfusion cells, they are quite flexible. You have the regular microfusion cells, which break through 2 armor and just do standard damage. That's really nice. You have bulk cells, which don't break armor, but they don't break your gun very quick. They don't do as much damage either, so they can be kind of useful, especially if you get these early on. And same goes with most energy weapons. They can be pretty nice if you load them in. Overcharge cells to do more damage, but they break your gun a bit quicker. Max cells to do the maximum amount of damage and the maximum amount of armor breaking, but they also break your weapon way fast. That one's difficult to recommend for the plasma rifle. It's pretty good in the Multiplaz rifle, which we'll talk about later, but in the regular plasma rifle, I would avoid using the max cells. And then we also have the optimized cells, which you can get from the perk Vigilant Recycler. These ones do more damage, punch through more armor, but break your weapon slightly faster. These ones are the best ones, I would say, especially if you're going to load into the plasma rifle, because the plasma rifle is kind of a general purpose weapon overall. For an overall rating on my tier list, I'd put the plasma rifle up into B tier. I think it's a solid enough energy weapon. It's got some flaws and I wouldn't use it over the laser rifle. The laser rifle is also better modded than this one. I don't think you're going to be disappointed in the plasma rifle if you like energy weapons. Let's move on to the modded version of the plasma rifle, because it only gets 1 mod and this doesn't change it up dramatically, but it does help it. The one mod that you can put on the plasma rifle is a plasma rifle mag accelerator. This one just increases the projectile speed of those plasma shots by 200%. That's actually pretty nice. That does help it quite a bit. That makes it so long range is more viable than it would be otherwise. At close and medium range, you're not going to notice too much of a difference. It does kind of help at medium range, but at close range, it's basically neglectable because you're not going to really care if you hit something a second faster most of the time, unless maybe it's a death claw or something, then it might make you feel a little bit better. So the accelerator is actually pretty nice to have on this. You can buy this from certain vendors. Traveling merchants can sometimes have this. The 188 can sometimes have this, I believe, and you can also get it from like the Silver Rush. The Silver Rush and the Brotherhood are probably going to be your main sources for energy weapon upgrades. So check them, see if you can get this. This is a nice quality of life improvement to the plasma rifle, but I don't think it makes it that much better than the base plasma rifle. So I'd still keep this one into B tier, but it is higher up in B tier than it would be otherwise. And then there is also one other plasma rifle that we should talk about, which is, I guess, technically one of the unique versions of the plasma rifle. This is the Van Graff's plasma rifle. This one is basically the same as a regular plasma rifle. It's really only used in one quest. This is if you're working with the Silver Rush and you choose to use the plasma rifle over the laser rifle. It's the same thing with the laser rifle there. And it isn't really any better than a regular plasma rifle, but it is technically a different rifle that you can get. So I'm also going to throw this one up into B tier. I don't think we really need to talk about it since it's got basically the same stats and it's, for all intents and purposes, the same weapon as a regular plasma rifle, just different in name. So let's move over to the other unique plasma rifle, which is called the Q35 Matter Modulator. You can get this one at the RepCon HQ. So if you know where that is and you know a way to get there, which is actually pretty easy, if you just run right from Good Springs up through Sloan and then up around Big Mountain, that way you can avoid the super mutants and you can avoid the death claws, and then you come out on the other side, you'll actually land basically right on the RepCon HQ. It's just a little ways off to your right hand side there. So you can get this within the first couple minutes of the game. If you go in there, you don't even need to have high skills in order to get this, because you could get this with high lockpicking. It is behind a very hard locked door. However, that's not necessary, because you could also pass a few skill checks when talking to the robots and get up to the 3rd floor and then drop your way down. Or you could potentially kill the robots, drop your way down and get them. Or you could just talk to the main robot and go through the tour there, which means you don't actually need to do anything. You just have to wait for him to show you everything. Then you can go to the 3rd floor, drop down, and get this weapon right away, which is insanely strong for how early you can get this. For the stats of this weapon, this one requires 25 energy weapons and 3 strength, same as a regular plasma rifle, which is very obtainable right at the very start of the game, especially if you just tag energy weapons. You should be able to get and use this at its full capability at like level 1 if you're going with an energy weapon character, which is pretty awesome. This does 40 damage per shot, which isn't as high as the regular plasma rifle. However, this one is better than a regular plasma rifle shot for shot, because this one doesn't consume 2 ammo every time you shoot it. So it's actually stronger with the amount of ammo you consume than a regular plasma rifle, even though the regular one can hit harder shot for shot slightly. This one does have higher DPS though. You can shoot it out much faster. This one has 96 damage per second, which is quite good. This one has 62 crit damage, which is very nice. Higher crit damage than it has regular damage is always a cool thing to see. Still has the 2x crit modifier, which makes it fantastic for a crits build. This one has the same spread, so it's 0.2. Quite accurate. This one has a magazine of 12, but this only consumes 1 shot per cell. So you're going to get more damage overall from the Q35 than you would the regular plasma rifle, which is awesome. This one costs 28 action points to be using in VATS, so it's better than a regular plasma rifle in VATS. It's still not as good as like the laser rifles, but it's not bad. This one weighs 7, so it's slightly lighter, which is good. And this one has a whopping 250 item health, which doesn't really sound all that crazy compared to like ballistic guns, but it is really crazy for energy weapons. Most energy weapons have very low item HP. This one actually has quite high item HP, making it so that it breaks very slowly, which is a huge plus for a unique weapon, especially a unique weapon that you can get this early on. So the Q35 actually has a lot going for it right at the start, especially for an energy weapon build. Even if you're not going with an energy weapon build, it's still totally worth running to the RepCon HQ and grabbing this one, because there's also a lot of microfusion cells around there. So if you pick up all those, pick up this weapon, you should be good to go for most of the game, even if you're not speccing into energy weapons at all. This one I think is one of the best general purpose energy weapons in the game, and I would put this one all the way up into S tier on my tier list. I think it's fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite of the energy weapons as well. And then we also have one last plasma rifle to go over, and this is the Multiplaz rifle. Multiplaz rifles are fairly rare. I think the only characters that can really carry this are the Brotherhood members. I don't remember if the Marked Men can. They might be able to. And the trauma suits in Old World Blues at certain high levels. So the Multiplaz rifle is essentially 3 plasma rifles all strapped together, similar to the tri-beam laser with the laser rifle. There is also one place that I know you can get a Multiplaz rifle right at the very start if you want to, and that is in the New Vegas sewers. If you go down there, there is one that is just laying on the ground, I believe, or it's on a corpse or next to a corpse. It's one of those 3. You can pick it up off there, and you can actually start out with this one really early on if you want to rush that. So this one requires 50 energy weapons and 4 strength, a little bit more than a regular plasma rifle, but not very much requirements at all, so that's pretty awesome. This one does 105 damage per shot. Since this one fires out 3 projectiles, that's split amongst those 3 projectiles. This one also has 105 damage per second. This one does shoot slower than the regular plasma rifle, and certainly slower than the unique version of it. This one does 34 crit damage on hit. That's because it's a shotgun, so you do less damage on crit, but you hit with more crits, so it's just a way to balance out shotguns. And since that's kind of a holdover problem from Fallout 3, this one has a 1x crit modifier, so it's less likely to hit crits, which I think is fine for a shotgun. That's perfectly okay. This one does have quite a bit more spread at 1.5, so it's not as accurate, and you can sometimes see the 3 shots going off quite a bit. Most of the time they actually stay fairly accurate, and most of the time stay pretty close to one another, so they might seem clustered. Every once in a while, though, you might get, like 2 shots that kind of go out wide or a little bit higher or low. So the spread gets worse at longer ranges, as you would kind of expect for a shotgun style weapon. This one holds 30 rounds in it, but it does consume 3 ammo every time that you shoot it, so it only has 10 shots in total before you do need to reload this. This one costs 35 action points in order to use, which is fairly high, but not too bad for a shotgun, I guess. This one weighs 7 weight, same weight as the unique plasma rifle for some reason, I don't know why that is. And this one only has 50 item HP. This one can break really fast. Like I said earlier, you can load this up with max cells and do really high damage, similar to what you can do with the tri-beam laser. I think the tri-beam laser is a little bit better than the Multiplaz rifle for the same sort of shotgun energy weapon build, but this one is still quite good and it's very fun to use. So I'd put the Multiplaz rifle up into A tier. It's a very solid weapon overall. So that'll do it for the plasma rifles. Tell me your thoughts on these weapons. Do you like these weapons or the laser weapons more? Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.